Welcome, friends. Welcome to another edition of Freeing the Body, Freeing the Soul. I'm your host, Dr. David, the Cutting Edge Doc, and here on Freeing the Body, Freeing the Soul, we do in-depth interviews with individuals that are doing cutting-edge work, either in the areas of healing or spirituality or social transformation. I'm very excited about today's show. Today, we're going to be dealing with a couple of topics that are dear to my heart. One is the ancient science of Ayurveda, and the other is what I call the dissemination of innovation. In other words, taking an invention, taking something that is valuable, that's useful for many people, and learning how to speak about it and persuade about it and package things and present things in such a way that whatever that invention is or whatever that value is, that it's made available to the community that you want to serve in a way where people are willing and able to adopt that new practice, eventually to the point where maybe that even becomes a new standard. And it takes a lot to do that in any field, but especially when you're dealing with healthcare and you're dealing with all the crazy forces that are at play here in the United States. And so I have to say a disclaimer from the beginning, and that is that most products and services that I promote or endorse on this show, I have had a direct experience of. So I have to have a disclaimer that I do not have a direct experience yet of these products. However, they've come highly recommended from a woman that I respect quite a bit, Sahara Rose, and I'm willing to take the bet. So I'm excited about this. I feel good about this, but I just, for full disclosure, needed to let you know that. My special guest today is Gunny Sodhi, who is one of the main people at a fairly new company called YouVeda. You, Y-O-U, and Veda as in the Vedas, Ayurveda. And from what I can tell, Gunny and his company are really committed to finding ways to bring high quality Ayurveda products to people in America that the American mind can understand, that is affordable, that relates to people's lifestyle, that doesn't require people to make dramatic changes in their lifestyle or in their belief systems, but very artfully and heartfeltly building bridges of understanding and hopefully actually changes in practices and how people in America choose to live and spend their money, spend their time. So with that, I want to bring into the conversation and welcome Gunny Sodhi. So Gunny, welcome to Freeing the Body, Freeing the Soul.
Thank you, David. Thank you so much for having me. And it's amazing what you're doing and what you do for your community as well. It's rare that, individuals such as yourself will do a service like this. So I want to thank you so much for that as well.
You're welcome. It is really my passion. It's really my passion and my joy to honor excellence wherever I see it, and particularly if it's in the areas where I am moved to put my energy into to uplift those areas, which are really the areas of healing and spirituality and transformation. So there's a great synergy here. So, one of the nice things about Freeing the Body, Freeing the Soul, as opposed to other venues, is because we do in-depth interviews, there's time for us not to just jump right into the subject matter, but to actually do a little backstory on the people that we interview so that people can have a greater appreciation for when we do talk about the work, when we do talk about the products. There's a richer understanding and there's more of an emotional connection. So the way I'd like to start, if it's okay with you, is to just turn the show over to you for a while and just give you an opportunity to introduce yourself and tell your story kind of in a purposeful way that brings us eventually up to speed.
Sure. Yeah, I would love to. Uh, so I moved to the U.S. When I was about 5 years old, and I guess my first exposure to Ayurveda and alternative healing really came, when I was a little bit older, when I had a little bit more understanding. I'd say around maybe 10, 11 years old. My dad is an Ayurvedic and naturopathic physician. He practices in Bellevue, Washington currently. And from a very young age, I was exposed to natural ways of being and even eating healthy, meditation, yoga. It's funny when I look back at fourth and fifth grade, other kids would have the packed lunches, such as like, the chips that came with it, the juices that from the store. And I would be taking home cooked meals with to lunch, and they would have a interesting smell and aroma. And so, sometimes those would not be so welcomed, but other at the lunchroom table. But it's interesting because at a very early on, I learned about how food is thy medicine and how important food is for our overall health, and how the relationship that we have with real food is important for our body, because that's really what our body thrives. And so, I really, as my dad, progressed in his practice, he's much more really about the education. And if I was to fast forward a little bit more, I would say really kind of how about the why that came about to YouVeda and where we are today is um, moving on through my high school days, just kind of grew up. I always had a intuition to wanting to be an entrepreneur and start something, not start something just to start something, but to start something to make an impact. I truly believe in impact. Um, and really helping people, such as what you're doing, David, just really a passion for it. And I always had a passion for building something amazing, building something that no matter if I have the hardest days in the morning, I still get up because our why is so big. And our why is simply to create a healthier, happier world using the intelligence of Mother Nature. And that goes into everything. That's one of our core ideologies. It's one of the base foundations when we create anything. But I'll tell you when my why and my reasoning and my for what we're doing came to be is fast forward a little bit to 2006, January of 2006. I get a phone call from one of my brother's best friends around 2:06 p.m. Actually, before this even. So I call up my brother. I'm in college here, my senior year, and he's a junior in high school. And so, back then, all you really care about is planning for the weekend and what are we doing, where are we going, and who's bringing what, and that's it. So let's talk. I gave my brother a call. He was sitting in not the healthiest place, but again, when you're young, you don't really thinking about this. He was sitting in Pizza Hut. So I called him up and he's like, yeah, we're just having some lunch. He was at doing a little, kind of just taking a little lunch break. And he's like, yeah, well, everything is good. We'll probably come over to your place on the weekend. We'll do this. That was about 2:06 p.m. So that's where the time comes in. At 2:13 p.m., I get a call from his best friend. And his best friend calls me and is frantic. Uh, he can barely speak. And I just asked him, I was like, okay, man, what's going on? Is everything okay? Is everything okay? And he keeps on saying my brother's name. My brother's name is Rishi. And he goes, Rishi, Rishi. And he couldn't breathe. And I'm saying, okay, calm down. You're really freaking me out. What happened? And all he could say is he's been in an accident. So, I'm thinking, okay, he's in an accident. Hopefully everything's okay. Yeah, maybe it's scary. But, I tried to give him a call. His phone, my brother's phone went straight to voicemail. Minutes later, I turn on the radio, start heading to the scene, and there's a very popular a inroad in Seattle, Washington here near the east side called Coal Creek Parkway. And I turn on the radio and I hear there's been a fatal accident on Coal Creek. And driving over there, as soon as I heard those words, I believe my body literally went numb for maybe 10 seconds because of the sheer shock of what I had just heard. Now, I realized that there was other cars there, but just somehow I knew that it was him. So, we get there and the scene's all blocked off and yeah, I mean it is what it is. And it was what the radio people said. He had passed away. It was an immediate, actually, impact. I think he had hit his head or something, and it was pretty immediate. And so, as you can probably imagine, it hit the community and our family extremely hard. I mean, he was only 16 years old. I mean, he'd just been driving. Just, gosh, I mean, I think he'd just gotten his license fresh. I think he got it in November and he passed in January. So, um, this was one of the hardest things. My mom, family, I mean, thank God we live in a very supportive community. But kind of to fast forward a little bit, so that was January, and we did all the, I kind of took a pause from school. We did his last rites, went to India, did all that, did all the rituals. But, as we're gearing to kind of get back into life, moving on, it's about summertime, and I'm about to start my, cover the area that I missed. I noticed some huge changes in my body, huge changes. And I think one of the things I did was during the whole grieving process, um, I took the advice that it meant that, you got to be strong, you got to be strong. And I think I took that to mean hold your emotions in. Do not let your parents see that you're weak. Do not let other people see that you're weak. That was horrible advice. I would not give that to anybody, and I interpreted it. Maybe people didn't intend for me to interpret it that way, but I interpreted it that way. But I'll tell all your listeners, do not do that. You are going against your body's natural grieving process. Holding in emotions, they'll come back later on in ways that you don't want. Trust me, I've been through it. So what ended up happening was every time I wanted to cry, I would hold it in. Every time I saw somebody else crying, I would be the kind of the make sure to console people. And I didn't grieve. I didn't really take the time to have my body experience what was going on. 6 months later, when I wanted to move on, when I wanted to get back into life, I had full on PTSD. And how do I know I had full on PTSD? Well, my dad, still being, the practitioner that he is, he diagnosed me with PTSD. And he could tell my symptoms. He did an Ayurvedic check, pulse diagnosis, tongue, all that. And then also his naturopathic training out of Bastyr. I mean, he knew right away. And he looked at me and he said just one thing. He goes, in all of my 30 years of practicing, I've written probably 5 prescription medications for anti-anxiety, antidepression. And he goes, some of those, it was against my will because the patient wanted it. And he goes, I'm not going to have you be the 6th one. This is what we're going to do. We're going to change up your diet. You're going to learn how to grieve, how to be one with your emotions. I'm going to introduce some adaptogenic herbs. You're going to start doing exercise, yoga, meditation. And David, I'll tell you, within 30 to 45 days, I was back to normal, completely back to normal. The symptoms had subsided. I was in a better place. I had learned more about myself. And I felt that if it's something that I can do, is there an easier way to create it? I mean, I did certainly a lot of things, but is there, I got to share this with the world. And hence kind of, YouVeda is born. And if it works for me, imagine how many other people there are that are in my position or that are suffering from other things. And how could I not want it? How could I not want to share this? And there's a really famous Steve Jobs quote when he did the Stanford commencement. He goes, you cannot connect the dots looking forward. You can only connect them looking back. Every time I tell this story, and it goes back to finding your why, it makes so much sense because I believe, in my opinion, I had to go through that experience to really solidify why I'm on this planet or why we are doing what we're doing. And hence, kind of have created the products, the services, and the ecosystem in YouVeda.
Not everybody has Dr. Sodhi for a dad.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm very grateful for that.
So, so keep going. Then what happened? You tell us about the origination of YouVeda, and then for people who don't know, maybe a very, very short Cliff Notes version. Obviously, people are going to need to read on their own. It's a lifelong study, but just so we don't lose anybody at the front end, just a very Cliff Notes description of Ayurveda.
Sure. So I'll go into the first question of how YouVeda. So then, after I got better, I really wanted to take my studies further, and I did an MBA in entrepreneurship out of Babson, based out of the East Coast. And that was a really great experience. I was with great individuals. Really, I believe that kind of education really elevates your mind, and gets you around individuals that are doing what you want to do, or really kind of, around the professor. So I graduated out of there with even more of a passion to want to start YouVeda. And I would say that we started kind of the incubation phase. What will the products look like? How many products are we going to carry? What do we stand for? What's our why? How do we treat customers? How do we treat our vendors?
I need,
What?
I need to interrupt you because I have no idea who you're referring to when you say we.
Oh, sorry about that. Yeah. So myself, my wife, and my father was a part of designing the products, as well as a resident doctor. And me and my wife had really taken the time to kind of really establish our ethos for what we wanted YouVeda. We understood that in the market right now, how Ayurvedic products were really kind of shown, as you mentioned, David, earlier, was there's a lot of confusion around it. What does this do? Single individual herbs were there. Do I need to pair it? Is it good to pair? Is it not? So we made the collective decision to build synergistic products and put them into categories that make it easier for people to understand, and build synergistic products that if you're taking, for example, our mood product, you really don't need to take anything else, because it's a healthy combination of adaptogenic herbs, a multivitamin, and a fish oil, things that have been well researched, well used, and even have been built by these doctors that use them, that really do support the overall brain health, adrenal health. And so that's how we kind of arrived at putting together our categories. And then what we said was, okay, we want the packaging to be different. We want it to be unique. We want it to be as eco-friendly as possible, where it's not you're opening up multiple bottles. Things come in a pack. The design team did a great job on that. And then we wanted a really great experience. We said, well, we understand it's not just about taking supplements. We want to go above and beyond. And that's why we also include an app available too. So for example, if you're on the mood supplements or the mood protocol, you get yoga poses that are specific to uplifting mood, meditations that are intentional to help you with the mood, and then even food recommendations that are like, okay, this will help support mood. So, and we associated that with 5 different SKUs that we have right now for digestion, immunity, body, joints, and mood. Will we add products in the future? Yes, but our ethos and philosophy is we'd like to take our time to design something that's very unique, very rare, that the market needs. And that's kind of how we go and build off that. And I'm involved in day-to-day, and my wife, God bless her, she does a lot of the nitty-gritty sometimes as well. She gives me as much time. So by profession, she's an orthodontist. She just finished up her residency, and we're ready to kind of have our first child here, which we're super excited about. But yeah, I mean, on the weekends when I would get her time, we would work on putting the ethos, the brand guidelines. What is it going to look like? And David, I will say that we hold a really, really high value to customer service. Super high value. It's whether on phone, we've made it really accessible for people to call us, whether on phone, chat, email, Instagram, and we believe our customers are an extension of the family. It's an extension of our community. And when you approach it with that attitude, you're going to do what's right. And that's the kind of the mental state that we'd like to be in, is if this was an extension of your family, how would you treat them? And most of the time you make a decision based on, empathy and understanding rather than just a business function. So, that's really been a big part of us. And then to answer your second question, Cliff Notes version of Ayurveda. Wow. I mean, that's a great question. I would say Ayurveda, to me, without getting into the doshas and all that stuff, is really about a harmony. What Ayurveda teaches is balance, basically, in the foundation. But to me, it's really a harmony of your internal state with your external state. Your internal state is a lot of times reflection of your external state. It's funny when we can sometimes enter a room and sense energy. And that could also be what you're pre-programmed you come in with, or it could just be that energy. But a lot of times Ayurveda says, to take care of your internal environment, your relationships, where you live, how active are you, what are you getting in your diet. So to me, I'd say the Cliff Notes version is really taking the time to understand that it's all about balance, and your internal environment is a reflection of your external environment. So if there's some imbalance that you're feeling, and believe me, guys, your body tells you. Your body is one of the most intelligent, intuitive, machines there is. When you begin to listen to your body, you really do receive a lot of information. And when you take the time to listen and help it and facilitate it and give it a little bit of guidance, your body always goes. My dad says, Dr. Sodhi, my dad always says the following. He goes, your body is one of the greatest pharmacies within itself. When you give it the right guidance, the right balance, it goes towards homeostasis. Actually, it's always going towards homeostasis. So that to me is kind of, what Ayurveda stands for.
I'll throw in my 2 cents here.
Yes, sir.
What I like about Ayurveda is that you're taking universal principles and you're applying them to human life. But at the same time, you're also acknowledging personal uniqueness and individual differences. So the blend of the overall context of universal principles and natural laws with the acknowledgement that there is human uniqueness, I think is profound, because you're honoring the individual. Part of what makes America is the value that we place on individual freedom and liberty. But on the other hand, there's a respect and a humility for universal principles and natural law that transcends cultural conditioning and a personal opinion. And that's one of the things I've always liked about Ayurveda. And again, one of the things that's been difficult about integrating the possibilities of Ayurveda into modern American life is that on one hand, modern American life tends to be so out of balance,
right,
that the application of what the Ayurvedic doctor would ask the citizen to do, it would strike the person as so odd or so weird or so much of a pattern interrupt that it would take a unique person with a unique motivation to make those kinds of changes. And, we know so much now in psychology. We know so much about how to facilitate progressive behavioral change now, that to be able to apply our understanding of how to make it possible for people to actually make incremental changes, moving in the right direction and building confidence and understanding is really important. And I can see your commitment. You're basically taking your healing and your family and you're trying to share that through YouVeda, even though we don't all have a Dr. Sodhi. And so well, first of all, do you think your family customer service ethic is going to be scalable, given that you guys are growing rapidly and that you're having a new baby? And how are you planning to be able to scale without sacrificing the soul of your company?
Now, that's a great question. So we take a lot of time to share these core ideologies, how our personality type is, and we have different scenarios. If there's been a unique scenario, like customer received a damaged package, or the customer's not satisfied, or they want to switch up a product, how have we treated that in the past? These are well recorded. But I think the most important thing is having our core ideologies around how do we treat our customers. And David, honestly, then it's just bringing on people that are truly passionate about what they do and wanting to help people. Will we get it right every time? Probably not. But I think if you go by your intuition and you listen, you can pick up on who really wants to help people and who just kind of is looking for, another job. So for us, we've established these foundations. We continue to review them. We continue to make sure they're good. And then we take our time to share them with anybody else that we bring on board and team members. And there kind of has to be for both of us, me and my wife, okay, this person's a right fit, or a aha, or they get it, for us to really include them in the YouVeda ecosystem. Because it's a great question. I was asked that from one of the investors as well. I say, okay, how do you keep scaling this? And that's when it really dawned on me to build out something that we believe in. And we have a document that we even send to some of our sponsors that say, this is our core ideology. We don't have to do that, but it tells them about our personality and what we believe in and how we treat our vendors, our customers, our team members, just so they're aware that we've taken the time to really think and spend on how we want to do this.
How many people are currently employed besides the three principals?
Right. So we have a graphic artist, a lead IT person, and then a project manager, and then a intern. So I'd say about a team of 7.
And then the other thing I was going to ask you, but you've just alluded to a little bit, whether you guys were able to self-finance or whether you sought outside investors, and how you dealt with that, and how you maintained the control that you needed for your own project and still were able to gather the funding you needed.
Right. So that's a great question. Well, at the start, we were self-financed. I dumped whatever savings I had. And it's interesting. I think maybe some entrepreneurs will listen to your podcast, but they can probably understand, and others, who are looking to start a business. Guys, if you're crazy enough and passionate enough to want to do something, I will rephrase it, not crazy, but if you're passionate enough to want to do something, and the craziness, what I mean is that you just can't stop thinking about it. You got to do it. You will find a way to do it. I took my savings, any tax return, whether I'd get it or not, I'd put it back into the business. I broke I had a Roth. I broke that. My wife would get maximum loan amounts on her student loans, and we'd take the extra money that we didn't need, we'd dump it into the business. I have even taken out a cash out refinance against a property to put back into the business. This is how much we believed in it and how much we wanted it. And God's grace, it's worked so far. But this is how it was. And now we're at the point, David, where, when we have certain numbers and certain gross margins, certain revenue, certain customer base, that you can then go to investors and say, hey, look, we're making some traction, and then you can get that money. But at the start, you really gotta be scrappy with it, and I think there's resources in place, thank God, for 2018, and how really the barrier to entry is much less greater than what it was before to start a business. But I also had experience, 10 years of experience in the dietary supplement industry. So I had connections to vendors. I knew who did a good job, who didn't. I knew the FDA regulations, GMP regulations, who got the best sourcing. I visited every single person I was going to work with, every single person, to make sure that they actually are who they say they are. They run their facility like they do. We went to India. We visited the facility, how they source the Ayurvedic ingredients. We met some of the farmers. We met them, made sure they were actually being treated well, and they were. All these guys said that we work with the Department of Forestry. The Department of Forestry pays these guys, but then they're the ones that grow. Like ashwagandha is grown in a particular area, particular time, particular season. Same with amla, same with shilajit, same with other things. So we did our due diligence. Did it take some time? Yes. Do I feel amazing that I did it? Yes, because I can tell you the story that I actually went. We went to our fulfillment facility. We made sure they were set up in certain temperature controlled environments. They were obliged to FDA regulations. I visited the place where our manufacturing happens. And so that's also the fun part, David, because my wife Gith, she went with me, and those are memories that will last forever. I remember going to one of our first fulfillment people. So when we were in Jacksonville, we took a flight out of Jacksonville at 5 a.m. We were up at 3:30. We had nonstop meetings, and I think our day finally started to settle down at 4 or 5 p.m. And we just looked at each other. We're like, oh my gosh, I'm exhausted. But it's so fun too that you look back and you're like, we began this. And so that's kind of where it is. I mean, so to get back to your questions, I mean, we made it happen. We took out the funds wherever we figured, and we were responsible. We weren't maxing out credit card after credit card. We had some, thankfully had some savings. It's that Indian mentality. Your mother and father will teach you at the start. Savings is important. And so we had some savings. I had some in Roth, and my wife maxed out her student loans. That helped us a lot too. So that's kind of how we did it.
It sounds like you also had some goodwill in the industry already, that
Yes.
came in handy. Um, did your father formulate all the products?
Him and a co-resident of his who now works at a cancer center, Cancer Treatment Centers of America, and he brings in his naturopathic kind of a point of view. They both are worked on it. So what was nice is my dad would present his 40 years of experience, and the other doctor, which was resident, he's really into research. So they would kind of make a great team. He would validate his stuff based on the latest research, and my dad would make the tweaks based on that. And they both have the same philosophy and ethos about synergistic and having the herbs work together, having certain amount of adaptogens. So yeah.
Do you know if the formulas have been evaluated by practitioners like myself that are very energetically sensitive and very energetically based, and have seen how they perform in relation to more subtle energetic type testing?
We have not done a specific type of feedback, but it was sent to a couple of our colleagues that kind of are into the energy fields, and they really enjoyed the mood and the joints one, but nothing specific.
Okay.
Yeah, but these were just our colleagues just kind of say, hey, this is something we designed, and I think that's a little bit more biased because they really were happy to see the product, so we'd be open to it though.
I'd be happy to give you feedback on it.
Mm-hmm. That'd be great.
Let's talk about let's get into the there are 5 products currently?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, let's get into detail about each of the 5, and maybe you can present them one at a time, and then if I have any questions about it, I'll ask you.
Sure, of course. So let's start with the most popular one. And I feel it may be the most popular because, everyone's really stressed out these days. So whether it be anything, and it's funny, David, that it really is, it goes back to kind of how we overcomplicate what Ayurveda really is. So the product that I'm talking about is called My Healthy Mood. And My Healthy Mood is a combination of Ayurvedic adaptogens such as ashwagandha, saffron, and other brain tonic and brain healing herbs and stress supportive, adrenal supportive, mood lifting herbs that work in conjunction with a multivitamin, a very diverse and very mineral rich multivitamin, and then a fish oil. Fish oil has shown to also support brain health. And what makes this combination unique is that the adaptogens are, for people that are not familiar with Ayurvedic adaptogens, so adaptogens basically, the name says a lot of it. So they adapt to your body and they work closely with your cortisol levels. And David, anything that I'm missing, feel free to jump in and let me know. This is also I think your forte as well, though. So adaptogens work closely with your cortisol levels, and the beautiful thing about them is they'll go into your body and they'll know if your cortisol is spiked too high, they'll help bring it back down to a level that's your body needs, and if it's too low, it'll help bring it up. And for most of us, cortisol is the highest in the morning. Should be highest in the morning because it kind of gets us out of bed, gets us going. That's the one that kind of, okay, here we go. The problem is it should decrease in the evening. But for how overworked, overstressed we all are, that cortisol level kind of stays at that level, the higher level, even in the evening times. And that's what gets us into trouble with the adrenal fatigue, with the mood changes, with the anxiety, with the depression. So basically what My Healthy Mood does is it takes the intelligence of the ashwagandha being one of the best adaptogens. Actually, ashwagandha was one of the things that my dad put me on after my brother passed away as well. And in conjunction with a really good multivitamin and a fish oil, it really does help support mood health. It also helps support, elevates mood with saffron. And the interesting thing about saffron is the dosing of saffron doesn't need to be that high. Saffron has such a great aromatic effect as well. And then also it really does have a uplifting effect. And if I was to say that, okay, most people ask, okay, how soon can I see it? Like honestly, from our customer base, some people see it in a couple of days. Most see it in a week or 2 weeks. And it's really rare that it takes a full 1 month to see the results, especially with My Healthy Mood. So it goes to work pretty quickly because of how synergistic, how wonderfully the formulas have been put together, how much thought was put together behind it. And this one's been one of our best sellers, honestly.
Are there any other major herbs in the formula?
Yes, Bacopa is actually in there, and then Shilajit is also in there. Shilajit basically is a great assimilator. Shilajit is a mineral pitch found in the ground, and what Shilajit does is Shilajit really helps increase the assimilation. So really the bioavailability of everything else, it just takes it and pushes it more into the body. And so also with Bacopa, Bacopa is a great brain supportive herb. And Gotu Kola is actually in there as well. Gotu Kola helps with memory, helps with mood support. So a lot of these Ayurvedic elixirs that are known for brain support are in there. They provide great brain tonic.
Yeah, actually, two of those herbs I take every day already.
Wonderful.
I take ashwagandha and bacopa already. One thing I would add about the Shilajit is that it not only facilitates uptake, but it also facilitates detoxification.
Yes.
Yeah, I can see why that formula would be very, very popular. Okay, so let's go on to whatever you want to talk about the next product.
So the next one that we have that also is very popular is our product, My Healthy Digestion. And as you know, David, digestion is the forefront of Ayurveda. They believe healthy digestion leads to overall radiant health and glowing health, and it just affects everything. When you have really good digestion going, your immunity is working great. When your immunity is working great, you're feeling great. When you're feeling great, your mood's going to be affected. And there's also a great connection now that's being studied, the brain and gut connection, that there are signals that are being sent from the brain to the gut and gut to the brain, and that are tied and that are being studied, and it's much more coming about. But Ayurveda knew about this centuries ago. And so what's in the I'll talk about some of the main ingredients that are in the digestion formula. One of my favorite ones is Triphala. Triphala is an adaptogen. And the great thing about Triphala is the name Triphala means three fruits, Triphala. Amla Bahera Haritaki. These are not only bowel regulators, but they also help support they not only regulate you, but for people that are constipated, they can cause kind of a stool softening function as well. And so Triphala, even taken on its own, is really good for helping to regulate bowel movements, help to also break down certain foods and help you digest it. Amla is just great that it also is an antioxidant. So not only does Triphala work as a great bowel regulator, but also a great antioxidant. Then we've also put in a very unique probiotic with I believe 17 strain probiotic, ones that are closest living to the human gut. And the probiotics, again, really help create that healthy microflora. A lot of times when people have been in the traditional kind of, I would say Western ways, like a lot of times people are on antibiotics, and the antibiotics actually, while they help, they can also get rid of all the healthy bacteria that you have. So probiotics really help introduce that. Probiotics really help support immune health, and of course really good for digestive health as well. And then we also have a very amazing digestive enzyme. And the digestive enzyme, we've actually also added amla and shilajit to this formulation as well. Again, as you said, doctor, to kind of helps the assimilation and also help break down other things as well. So this formula has also been very successful. One of the best results that we get is when eaten with food, and if you already have a great intake of your greens, that it really does help regulate the bowel movements and really helps produce a great bowel movement. We also have oat beta glucan. The whole point of oat beta glucan is also for cholesterol support, but then also add the fiber. So the fiber really gives that healthy bowel movement that we all really, enjoy at the end of the day. So that's been a great product for us as well.
So the only thing I would add to that explanation would be to let people know that this is not a habit-forming laxative.
Right.
It's not harsh like senna or aloe. It's not like that. It's more tonifying. You can take it on a long-term basis.
Right.
It's one of the main pillars in Ayurvedic medicine, the Triphala.
Right, and thank you so much for adding that. You're right. I mean, Triphala, I believe my dad had said that it was Triphala and Amla were some of the things that the yogis and the rishis took every day. So that was their kind of secret to longevity and youth.
Yeah, if you play the game, if I were stuck on a desert island and I could only have 5 Ayurvedic remedies, what would I take? Just about everybody would include Triphala in their list of 5. Right now, I think another one that's becoming very common, very popular in America, that's been known in Ayurveda for a long time, that's been used for just about everything under the sun, is turmeric.
Yes, yes. And that's actually a great segue, because our next product that we can discuss is My Healthy Joints. And it's My Healthy Joints, one of the main greatest ingredients in there is curcumin. So curcumin is the active, and what we've done is taken the standardized form of it. So it's standardized to 95% pure curcuminoids. And curcumin, as you were saying, Doc, that's the active in there. So that has been studied as to be a great anti-inflammatory support. And also, what I forgot to mention was actually curcumin is also present in the My Healthy Digestion, because it also helps decrease inflammation. So
Right.
Any inflammation that you may be having that's causing stomach upset, that also helps. So it's great for inflammatory support. It's great for bone and joint health. We also have boswellia. Boswellia is super supportive for mobility. And again, it acts as the anti-inflammatory as well, and then also increases joint mobility with the addition of fish oil. We also have ashwagandha in there. Now, people are like, okay, ashwagandha again. Yes, ashwagandha has been it's almost like curcumin.
You can't overdose on ashwagandha.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and the fact is that it's when ashwagandha, being as intelligent as it is, when it realizes that it has the other anti-inflammatories, it also acts as an anti-inflammatory agent when it pairs up with boswellia and curcumin. But what we've also done is, as you know, boswellia or curcumin is not as bioavailable when just taken like that. So what we've done is we've introduced MCTs, medium chain triglycerides, from coconut to make it more bioavailable. So more of the curcumin is retained in your body to help more of the anti-inflammatory function.
I'll tell you another thing is that the bioavailability of boswellia is increased by about 5-fold in the presence of fat.
Wow. Okay, that's great. I didn't know about boswellia. That's great.
So the fact that you have the fish oils, that you have the MCT oil in there, that's part of why you're getting the results that you're getting.
Wonderful. Okay, I didn't know about that, about boswellia as well. That's great. Thank you so much. The next formula is My Healthy Immunity. And My Healthy Immunity is a very, very amazing combination of the principles of amla. So amla is there, guduchi is there, and these herbs have been known to be antioxidants and also provide great immune supportive overall for the body as well. This product is, like you also said, David, that this one is, again, it's not something like that you're going to have, habit forming. Majority of our customers like to take this when they feel like maybe, symptoms of a cold or something coming on, or also that they're going through something and they feel weak, or it really helps to strengthen the immune system, the combination of the herbs. And then also we have the probiotic there, which the probiotic, what we're trying to do is strengthen the gut. When the gut is strengthened, then the immune system also gets strengthened. So this one, is on the intelligence of amla. Amla is now being studied as to be a great antioxidant, great immune supportive, even great anti-aging herb as well, based on the different studies.
You know, one thing that is really unique about guduchi is that guduchi has, while it has a big effect on the liver, um, a lot of herbs that have sort of a cleansing effect on the liver are cooling herbs. And so you wouldn't want to take it that much on a regular basis. But what's unique about the energetic property of guduchi is that it's slightly warming.
Right.
Which is very unusual for a liver tonic.
Right, absolutely. But you know, it's like we were sharing earlier. These herbs have their own intelligence. You know, I mean, it. I've heard it said before that it's almost like when you create a really good Ayurvedic preparation, it's almost like a human going inside you to go to that exact position you need support to help out, you know? So it's like, that's how intelligent it is. It comes with a brain, it comes with limbs, and, you know, the brain maybe being ashwagandha, it comes with the limbs maybe being boswellia, and it comes with, you know, other intelligences with amla. So you send it inside your body to help your body recognize it and take care of it. So I mean, it was brilliantly described when I heard it that way.
You know, one potential concern would be that people would need maybe 2, 3, 4 of these formulas, and because they're all combined with multiple vitamins and minerals, be concerned about maybe taking too much of a certain vitamin or too much of a certain mineral. And is that something you've accounted for, or are you thinking about maybe creating some modular add-ons in the future, or how would you address that issue?
Yeah, that's a great issue. Right now, we've had a few people that do take two of these, you know, maybe mood and digestion together. We have purposely made the multi count in per packet, and even the fish oil and the probiotic to be not the main emphasis. So we really want to encourage that you know, Ayurveda is a lot about food. So you take the Ayurvedic supplements, but you try to compensate for some of the stuff that's going to found in the multi with your food. But we have kept the dosage where a lot of multis are 2 times or 3 times a day. You're only getting 1 here. Probiotic, again, 2 to 3 times a day. Fish oil, maybe 3 to 4. So you can take multiple, but we've seen people, majority of our customers take no more than 2 different kits right now.
Okay. So we've covered 3. Let's keep going.
Yeah. That's actually, I think we're down to the last one now. So that was my healthy. Oh yeah. Sorry. That was
we had the mood,
digestion, immunity, joints and immunity, and now we got body. So no problem. My healthy body is for, we kind of created, was like, okay, what if an individual is pretty healthy but they've learned about Ayurveda and they're like, I don't have issues with my mood, I don't have issues with my immunity, I just want to try something that I'm interested, I get it. So this is why we created My Healthy Body. It has a multivitamin, it has the enzyme, it has the fish oil, but then it also has, this is more of the focus on the Ayurvedic adaptogens for somebody that's like, okay, I just need something on a daily that I want to support my body. I want some Ayurveda, some this. So it has ashwagandha in there. It has triphala, it has curcumin, and again, it has amla. The base foundation or base fundamental of My Healthy Body is providing you the mental and the digestive health. So when the mental health is there and when you're feeling really good in the mind, the rest of your body, like, you know, it really, the healing starts truly in the mind. And so we've included Triphala to help with the digestive health. And as you also said, you know, non-habit forming. So you can take this every day. And then the ashwagandha is in there to be a really healthy adaptogen. And then on top of that, also the curcumin to really help. There's not crazy amounts of that to help the inflammation, the normal inflammation that happens. And then there's a multivitamin, the probiotic, and the fish oil. So this is much more of your daily elixir that's found.
Okay.
Yeah.
So just to make sure I'm clear, so if someone's taking 2 or 3 of these, there's not a concern, for example, that they're going to, on a daily basis, that they're going to get too much iron. something
No,
like that?
there's not, unless they're taking, they're supplementing somewhere outside that,
Okay.
that they haven't shared, or they're taking another multivitamin. So we every time we get that question, we do ask them, hey, what else are you taking? And we do recommend sticking to kind of one protocol at a time. Some
Okay.
people do like to supplement an additional, fish oil or multivitamin or
Okay.
something like that. So
Okay, so I found out about you because I get communications from Sahara Rose, and she was singing the praises of your product, but most people don't know Sahara Rose. So how are most people finding out about you and YouVeda?
that's a great question. We are pretty prevalent on Instagram. We do a lot of advertising on there. And to be honest, we get a lot of traction on our website because we put out great content. We share great content. And Sahara has really helped connect us to other people as well. So we're always trying to go after like-minded individuals and community members. But we're pretty prevalent on our website, on Amazon, on Instagram, on Facebook. A lot of people will find us through there. And the other one is people really love the products and they like to tell. So a lot of word of mouth people are discovered as well. Our customers, if your community gets a chance, please go read our reviews. We would be extremely grateful to see, how other people are relating to the products. But yeah, a lot of times we get recommendations. But yeah, I mean, this is how people are finding out about us.
Well, this would probably be a good point for you to give out contact point information. So if people want to check you out
Sure.
further, why don't you slowly and clearly give out different contact points?
Sure. If you'd like to check us out online, please visit our website at www.youveda. So youveda.com. Again, youveda.com. And there's a plethora of information. We've done an amazing job with the product pages. We want to show you guys everything before you make a decision, really educated decision. If you ever have any questions on our website, you can chat with us live. We have our team available. I believe we've kind of switched up the hours, but I think it's at 7:30 a.m. PST till about 5 or 6 p.m. PST. So it's a pretty good amount of time for live chat. We're available via phone. We're also available via text message. All that information's there. But then you can also find us on Instagram. Just it's lowercase YOUVEDA, YouVeda. You can follow us. We release great content. It's great education. And also on Facebook as well. Again, YouVeda. And then if you're interested and you love Amazon, which a lot of people do, we're also on Amazon. And again, you just type in YouVeda. We have great pages. We are actually Amazon's choice as well. So, we're really happy to be that. And as of currently, I believe we're shipping to some of your international community. We're shipping to about, I believe, between 10 and 13 countries now, and we're always adding countries on a weekly basis.
Great. So we've talked about the products in some detail. I want to give you a chance to talk about the other thing that you mentioned, which was your app.
Yeah, so basically what we found with the app was the whole emphasis was to give you guys and give our community additional stuff. Like Uveda was never just to be about supplements. It was more than that because true balance comes from really, doing things that are much more beyond just taking something inside. So the app has great resources. Our knowledge center that you see on the website is also on the app, and information is updated on the app on a weekly basis. We upload new articles, new information stuff. So, we talk about ashwagandha one way, or hey, check out this person who took a full-fledged shot into Ayurveda and see their experience, or what should you be eating for the seasons, autumn's coming up. And then in addition, there's meditations. Whatever specific kit you buy, it's going to come with specific meditations for that kit and specific yoga poses that you can just put up on your phone and follow along, and diet tips that are all created for that. But then let's say maybe if you just want to download it for free, we have some free content that's great: yoga, meditation. Again, stressing that whole ecosystem balance, that the supplements go with the exercises, go with the food, go with your mental state, go with moving your body. So that's kind of what comes with the app.
And is the app available both for Android and Apple?
Yes, we just made the update a couple months ago, and we were happy to say that yes, it's available both on Android and iOS.
And you just search under YouVeda.
Yes, you can go to the App Store, search YouVeda, and the Google Play Store, and just search YouVeda as well.
Is there anything else you want to say while you've got this forum here? Some people are watching you on video and they can see you. Other people are just listening to you on audio. And some people might be listening to you 6 months or a year or even 2 years from now. So is there anything else that you would like to share?
Yeah, I really would. I would like to just let your community members know that, I don't think, in my opinion, anybody should hold health at maybe a lower pillar than the top. I believe health should be the greatest thing you ever invest in for yourself. And I really do think, let's take the stigma out of, not taking care of ourselves first. For example, if you are not healthy, you are not in a position to take care of others that you love. If you're not healthy, you're not going to be of a service to them. So I would just like to say that, just encourage the community to really, find things that you do that make you happy, that really make you be with Mother Nature a little bit more, that truly keep you healthy. Watch what you eat. I'm not saying you cannot indulge. It's fine. We're all humans. You can indulge in the little things. And then if there's entrepreneurs or people that want to do, start a business, at the end of the day, one thing that I always like to tell people um, is if I hope you don't mind me using this language or not, but if if shit hits the fan, you got to have a bigger why for why you do what you do than just, okay, I'm going to create a brand or I'm going to make money. It's got to be bigger than that, because you're going to have a lot of those days. Believe me, like at the start, we had a lot of those days. Sometimes full shipments go missing, and you have to call 5 different people over 2 weeks and not even know, and you've invested money in it. Or you just cannot get an answer from a vendor, or vendors not being very cooperative. So your why has to be bigger for why you're doing whatever. And it doesn't have to be a supplement company. You could start a t-shirt company, you could start a yoga studio, a meditation thing, but understand your why. Know why you're doing what you are. And if you want a great book, I mean, Simon Sinek has it. It's Begin with Why. It's amazing. I recommend any entrepreneur to read it. And that's kind of it. And then really, just at the end of the day, somehow know that things will work out. Have a long-term vision. Don't be too fixated on the short term. Know that you're building for the long term, and have a lot of fun, and treat people with respect. I mean, just be nice, be nice to people. That's all I would say.
Do you mind if I ask you some personal questions?
No, please.
So, I think there's a lot to the old adage that kind of along with every great man is a great woman. Having a powerful marriage and having a supportive home life can make all the difference. What has your journey been like in terms of you and your wife getting to the point where you guys were both in agreement about taking this project on, and how to try to keep some kind of life balance, how to make sure you guys don't get sick and tired of each other, how you deal with who makes the decisions in the business with regard to this, with regard to that. You don't take your problems home with you. It's a complex dynamic that requires a lot of care and attention. And again, I don't want you to go any place that's too personal, but if you could speak to that. I know that you're not the only entrepreneur that's had to grapple with those decisions and those issues.
No, beautiful question, wonderful question. I really respect you for asking that. And I think, I'll get as granular as needed. I think it's a very great question here. To be honest, like, is there really a stoppage between, I think about this business 24/7. So, and my wife realizes that, and she does as well. So for us, I think the balance comes in knowing when we're at home and knowing that, okay, we can just cool off a little bit and understanding that's healthy, that you can't always keep on going because the creativity, the functionality, being there for your team members and being there for the customers, you're not going to be able to do that. But kind of to go back, when me and my wife first met, we asked each other, what are our dreams and our goals? And what are our dreams and our goals, not mine or hers? Like what are our, like we took the time to learn about what mine were and hers and how do they overlap. And what was nice about that exercise was really being able to give each other the space about, okay, if I wasn't in your life, what would you want to be doing, and vice versa. And we did that very early on. And both of us are kind of entrepreneurial, and it really helped because I was able to respect what she wanted to achieve, and she dreams pretty big, as do I, and we are there supporting each other. And it's not easy. I mean, there will be times that yeah, I mean, maybe we're hard on each other. Maybe I'm tough to work with, she's tough to work with, but having that understanding that we are working on something that we both believe in, I think that's really important. If you believe in it, working on something that's helping people, it's pretty makes it smoother to understand why somebody maybe is working so hard, or on Saturdays they're also working, and sometimes on Sundays, is really understanding that's a long term there. But I think that both of us kind of have this also, we're able to like kind of almost, hit a switch and be able to get, okay, we're home. Let's relax. Let's go take a walk. Let's talk about how, what do we need to do to get ready for the little guy coming in our life? What do we need to do? And nowadays businesses can be 24/7. You have all the notifications on your phone. You just need a laptop and an internet signal. And you can open up YouVeda offices in your Starbucks. So it's really about having that understanding about, okay, why are we doing what we are, believing in what we're doing, but then also understanding that there has to be an element for, again, that balance, that when you are home or when you're away from the business, you got to be there. And David, most of my great ideas and even her great ideas and the team ideas have come when I'm away from the office, totally away. That's when some of the insight comes.
Sure. I just wonder if you guys are willing and able to, for 3 hours, to just totally turn off the notification.
Yes, we are. We do that. When we lived in Florida, we would go and maybe do a little weekend getaway, and the phones would not be close to us. So we would not be checking. But then that also is discipline. I think it's all about just really being, saying, hey, look, this is just family time. This is why we want to socialize with others, and maybe and learn about, kind of have good conversations, or go out and walk, spend some time on the beach, and just go do that. But then me and her also have monthly check-ins, like we do a monthly, like, this is a little more personal, but we do a monthly budget, like personal and business, okay, how are we doing? What did we do? Where are our expenses going? Where is it going? And the budget is not like we're really, okay, oh my God, we got to stay within here. It's really where's our money going? And where are we going to, yeah. And where are we going to direct it? So we do that on a monthly basis. And then it's much more about, you asked a great question about the roles. We kind of defined what my role is and what her role is. And unless each other asks for advice or help, we don't step in on each other's toes. Like, if she's going to make a decision in the category that she owns, I trust her. Because at the end of the day, if it's not a good decision, we'll know. Right? Both of us will know. If I've made a not a smart decision, I'll know, or she'll know. But both of us are gonna hold each other to the respect that decision is made, because that person's the best one to make that decision.
Great.
Yeah.
I bet your dad's very proud of you.
I hope so. But yeah, I believe he is. Yes. Yeah.
Is he very excited about YouVeda?
Oh yeah, he is very excited. Yes.
Yeah. Is he at the point in his life cycle and work cycle where he's winding down his work schedule at all, or is he still going full force?
No, he's a pro Vata. He's not winding down.
Okay.
he's going. He's not winding. I don't think he's gonna stop. maybe when his grandson's here, he may step
Maybe.
aside. Yeah, but I don't see him stopping. Right? I mean, he still gets up super early. Uh, David, he loves what he does.
I know.
And he's an amazingly gifted healer.
Great.
When people ask, what's your God-given talent, I can point to his and say he's a healer. I mean, he's a truly gifted healer. So
Well, I wish you and your wife the best on the next new chapter
thank
of
you.
your life. There's nothing in life that produces as much permanent change as being a committed parent. And so it's almost like you're going to have two babies. You're going to have YouVeda and your son.
Yes, yeah. Although I would say YouVeda is learning to crawl now.
Yes, yes.
So. Well, David, it was my absolute pleasure, and thank you so much for having us. It means the world. I'm extremely honored that you would think about us. And if there's any questions your community members have, they can always email us at customerservice@youveda.com. I check those on occasion as well, but customerservice@youveda.com. They can give us a call if they want to talk to me. Give the number a call, and if somebody else picks up and I'm there, I will be more than happy to speak to the community, see how I can help out. Otherwise, it's been an absolute pleasure. I really, commend you on what you're doing as well.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, you've been listening to another edition or watching another edition of Freeing the Body, Freeing the Soul. I'm your host, Dr. David, the Cutting Edge Doc, and here on Freeing the Body, Freeing the Soul, we do in-depth interviews with individuals that are doing cutting-edge work in the areas of healing or spirituality or social transformation. Today, my special guest has been Sodhi, one of the principals of a company called YouVeda, which is committed to bringing, I would say, user-friendly Ayurveda to our culture. So with that, until next time, we'll close with love and peace. Bye for now.